Hello, welcome back to Mini Movies. Today, I'm going to describe an American film called Bubble Boy. There will be spoilers ahead. So, keep an eye out and be cautious. Jimmy Livingston was born with no immunity, which means, even the tiniest germ can kill him. So, he was kept in complete isolation, and couldn't touch anything without contaminating it. To survive, he will have to spend his entire existence within a bubble-like plastic sphere. Mrs. Livingston, his mother, is too protective of her son, and didn't even permit him to come home, until he was 4 years old. His parents brought him home in his bubble, and made his room into a large bubble, that he may move through. His parents can touch him with a pair of extended hands on the bubble. All of his toys are decontaminated and preserved, inside the bubble. Not even a single germ was allowed to reach him. Since then, Jimmy has been living in that room. Mrs. Livingston doesn't want him to leave the bubble. That's why she changed bedtime stories, to end with the princess dying, because they were set free. Mrs. Livingston allows him to watch only one TV channel, and read one magazine. She tells him, that they are the only ones ever made. She also cuts his hair, and hugs her son with her extending arms. She is a devoted patriot, and teaches her son everything herself. Whatever she considers to be right and reasonable, she makes him accept it. Jimmy doesn't know any better, so he goes along with her mother. The special Bubble Boy gets famous in the city. But this does not really work in his favor, because the kids in the neighborhood tease Jimmy. They wrap themselves in plastic wrap outside his house, which Mrs. Livingston often chases away. Jimmy only eats homemade meals by her mom. Mrs. Livingston has built a decontamination system in a plastic tube. It removes the bacteria from his food, before reaching Jimmy. Jimmy is 16 years old now. He describes how he grew up like any other kid, and is delighted to receive an electric guitar, instead of a car. Until one day, while looking out his window, when he notices a new girl. Her name was Chloe, and she was new in the neighborhood. He was starting to like her, but can't seem to do anything. Besides, he has no experience with love or girls. His mother notices his attraction, and tells Jimmy the story of a boy, who died after touching the next-door whore. Jimmy keeps watching Chloe through his windows for a few years, and she notices it. He thinks something is wrong with him, but can't seem to figure out what it is. He is terrified when he wakes up one morning with an erection, and beats himself with a bat. He cries, and calls his mother, completely unaware of the situation. Mrs. Livingston enters, and forces him to repeat the oath of allegiance, until he relaxes. Chloe's popular friends mock Jimmy as the Bubble Boy, but she defends him. One day, she visits Jimmy's home, and is captivated with the system of plastic tubes, that runs throughout the house. She gets to Jimmy's room by following the tube, and Jimmy is surprised. He gets nervous, because he hasn't spoken to any other woman, apart from his mother. Chloe tells him that she likes his guitar, so Jimmy tries to teach her. In the middle of it, he begins reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. Mrs. Livingston doesn't seem to like their friendship, but can't do anything about it. They start hanging out together every day, and have lots of fun. For his birthday, she gifts him a guinea pig in a ball, and for Halloween, she brings kids into his room. On the night of her birthday, a drunk Chloe slips into Jimmy's room through the window. She tells him that she can't stay away from him. She tries to enter the bubble, but passes out before she can enter. On the night of Chloe's prom night, Jimmy gets heartbroken, when her creepy boyfriend, Mark, arrives to pick her up. Jimmy is offered a cigarette by Mark, but he has no idea what it is. One night, Jimmy sees Mark and Chloe making out, through his windows. The next day, Chloe walks into Jimmy's room and shows him her engagement ring. She says that Mark had proposed to her, and they are getting married this weekend at Niagara Falls. Jimmy is unhappy, but doesn't show it. She also bought him a present, which she places within his decontamination tube. Jimmy rejects it, and also returns the guinea pig to her, telling her to leave. With tears in her eyes, Chloe walks away. Jimmy later opens the gift, and finds that it is a snow globe, with the words, "I love you," written inside. He gets surprised and screams her name. He decides to go to Niagara Falls to stop the wedding, and works tirelessly to create a portable bubble shield. He gets excited as he sneaks out of the house, without telling his parents. Will he reach the wedding successfully? He reaches a bus station, and asks for a bus ticket. But as it was his first time running, he forgot to bring any money. He gets worried and tries to cross the road. A bus hits him and he flies to the ground, but gets saved by his bubble. The passengers on the bus get out, and offer him a ride, which he gladly takes. Soon Jimmy discovers, that the others are members of a religious group. When he points it out, they become angry and kick him off the bus. When the religious group arrives at their destination, their leader claims that there's a round guy inside a globe who is God's Messiah. The group realizes Jimmy was their Messiah and decides to find him to take him out from the globe. Meanwhile, Jimmy meets a biker named Slim who gives him a ride. They both share their incomplete love stories with each other. Jimmy tells that his love is about to marry someone, while Slim tells about his old lover, Wildfire, whom he still loves. The two of them talk through their journey to Niagara Falls. Mrs. Livingston is frightened when she learns Jimmy is not at home. The parents set out to find their son, because the police would not do anything until 24 hours had passed being missing. On the other side, Slim and Jimmy arrive at Vegas, and have a great time at a casino to relax a bit. But Jimmy has only 2 days left until the wedding, so he leaves Slim in the club, and grabs his scooter. After a couple of miles, Jimmy encounters his parents' car, who attempts to stop him. Jimmy causes an accident in a hurry, but thankfully, his bubble saves him. It bounces him into a running train, where he meets freak show entertainers. They tell him about their leader, who keeps them caged and uses them in his show. Their leader's name is Dr. Freak, who is actually a dwarf. When Jimmy meets him, he accidentally knocks him down with his bubble. This results in freeing the other freaks, and he continues his journey to the wedding. He doesn't have a scooter now, so he reaches a restaurant to ask for a ride. A group of police officers were bullying a man named Pushpop. When Jimmy tells them he has no immunity, they begin to fear that Jimmy has contagious sickness. They leave the restaurant, and in the middle of the chaos, the restaurant catches fire. Pushpop agrees to give Jimmy a ride to Niagara Falls. Mrs. Livingston meets Dr. Freak, who informs her that Jimmy is heading for Niagara Falls. She calls and confronts Chloe. She yells at her as Jimmy ran away because of her. Outside, the freaks steal her car, while she is speaking with Dr. Freak. On their trip, Pushpop and Jimmy hit a cow in the middle of the road. Pushpop is concerned, since cows are a sign of God in his religion. But as Jimmy was taught by his mother, he tells him that his religion is fake, making Pushpop offended. In anger, Pushpop discards Jimmy, leaving him on his own. Jimmy eventually makes it to New York, where he meets an old man. His name is Pippi, and he asks him for a ride. The old man gladly accepts, and starts driving. Next morning Jimmy still sees him driving the car, and realizes that he is dead. This results in the car crashing into a billboard. Jimmy enters a grocery shop, and dials Chloe's number, which Mark answers. He tells Jimmy to leave them alone, since they are getting married in 1 hour. Being hopeless, he phones his mother. He tells her to come and fetch him. Both of his parents arrive at his location, and help him into the car. Mr. Livingston asks Jimmy how it feels to be outside for the first time, as Mrs. Livingston walks to the restroom. The father and son talk for a while, and Mr. Livingston advises Jimmy not to give up without a fight. Jimmy runs to stop the wedding after hearing his words. Mrs. Livingston notices this, and drives after him. At the same time, the religious group hunts Jimmy down, and begins following him. Slim arrives with his biker mates, to help Jimmy as well. Mrs. Livingston, who happens to be his old love Wildfire, locks eyes with Slim. It turns out that they're all driving on the runway of an aircraft. A plane takes off, and Jimmy sits behind an aged pilot. They take the aircraft to Niagara Falls, but the plane crashes. Jimmy falls down into the water, but thankfully survives. His bubble keeps him from sinking, and he gets out of the water. He continues his way to the wedding in a hurry. Will he reach on time? Chloe and Mark are taking wedding vows at the chapel, when Jimmy walks in. He declares his love for her, and thinks this might be his last chance to persuade Chloe. So he risks his life by ripping his bubble open to kiss her. However, he faints the moment after the kiss. Mr. and Mrs. Livingston also arrive, as Chloe tries to stir him up. Mrs. Livingston starts grieving the loss of her son, but Mr. Livingston asks her to tell everyone the truth. So, she humiliatingly admits that Jimmy is perfectly well, and has no such disease. Suddenly he wakes up, and hears the truth. It turns out that she had been lying to him all these years, in order to keep him safe from the dangers of the world. Jimmy is disappointed, but forgives his mother after learning that she did it to protect him. Finally he hugs Chloe, and everyone claps. After a few months, Jimmy and Chloe get married. Everyone gets invited to the wedding whom he met on his journey. Slim, Mr. Livingston, and Mrs. Livingston have formed a throuple. Soon Jimmy and Chloe drive away in a car to their honeymoon, and the film finishes. Here we come to the end of the story. Hope you enjoyed it. How was the movie? Which character did you like the most? What was the most unexpected part? Comment down your views below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. For more videos like this, switch on notifications, and leave a like to support it. Thank you for watching.